Look at that. Well, welcome you early birds. I love it. Let's see who's all here. Oh my gosh, all kinds of people here already. Seriously, how did you guys get started before I did? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, welcome in everybody. We'll still give people a little bit of time to come in, a little bit of time to get the notifications. I'm guessing all of you that are here already have set your notifications, you've subscribed, so you guys always know when we are going live. So we've got some exciting nails that we're going to be doing here today, so stick with us. Let's see who's in the chat here already. Brenda, hello. Sue Turner is here. Let's see. Yes, you finally made the beginning of a live. You made it on time. You're going to get all of the good info. Let's see here. Nicoletta, hello to you. Nicoletta, I can't remember. Where are you from? Are you UK? Oh, Sue Turner. Yeah, Sue Turner. You guys thought the same thing. Italy, that's right, Italy. You were the one that asked if I spoke Italian, and I don't. But welcome in. Hopefully you're understanding my English. Sometimes my English is probably better than, I don't know, better than Italian, but maybe not by much. All right, you guys. Hello to everyone. Hello, hello, hello. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Looks like we've got some people joining us in. I think we'll adjust the camera just a little bit there. So welcome in everybody. Where is everybody watching from? Where are you guys at? We've got Italy, we've got Virginia, we've got Florida, Saudi Arabia. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it, I love it. Florida. I'm gonna come visit Florida. I need some warmth. I need some warm weather here. All right, you guys, today we're gonna be working on some hard gel nails. I'm gonna show you a couple of things with acrylic and hard gel, but mostly hard gel today. But for our nail, we're always gonna do our same prep, so we'll get started with that. Give some more people a little bit more chance to jump in before we get into the nitty-gritty of what we're doing here today. So we're gonna just prep our nail here. Let me come around there. All right, we're good. So I'm going to turn my E-file up to about 4,000 RPMs. I'm using my sanding band. This is a medium sanding band. And I'm just gonna come up around that cuticle, just doing small kind of circular motions. I'm just kind of working in this kind of a motion. And you don't have to go super fast, be accurate. But then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come through and just feather through the rest of the length of that nail. And I'm kind of following the contour of that nail. I'm not just using the tip of my bit, I'm using that whole bit all the way through that whole contour of the nail to remove all that shine nice and quick and easily. Okay, so just a quick prep. We'll come in with our manicure brush, dust that nail off really, really well. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of swipe on my manicure brush. Swipe is our cleanser. It's going to remove all of the dust, all of bacteria, germs, anything that we don't want on that nail. And it's gonna leave us a nice clean, pH balanced surface for our product to adhere to. This is gonna be the same prep that we do, whether it's acrylic, hard gel, gel manicures, any service, this is gonna be basically your same prep. And happy Friday to everybody. Yes, Friday Fun Day. I always like Friday Fun Day to do some cool designs and some fun stuff. You guys, if you missed our gel ombre yesterday, make sure to check out that video. We've got that posted up on our YouTube site here as well. So check that out. But today we're gonna be doing some more gel. We're gonna be doing some design work. But what I'm applying right now is our protein bond. So protein bond works like a double-sided tape. It's gonna sit down onto that natural nail, but it's gonna leave, as you can kind of see, a tacky surface. It's not gonna dry to that chalky look again. It's gonna leave a tacky surface to grab onto our product. And I'm gonna do 2 coats of protein bond whenever I'm working with an artificial enhancement. Now, if you're working with just a regular gel polish, you can get away with 1 coat of the protein bond. But for any acrylics, hard gels, anything like that, we're gonna use 2 coats for ensured adhesion. So we have our prep done. Let's get into our form. So I'm gonna grab one of our forms here. This is just our basic standard form. I'm gonna peel that off the paper. We'll take that little center tab out of the middle. and I'm going to just stick that right on the back of the form. That way it's going to give my form a little bit more durability, a little bit more firmness, if you will. And then I'm going to pinch together those two little silver tabs on the back so that those are nice and even. We want to make sure to get those as even and close together as possible so that our nail is going to end up nice and straight. If we pinch those together and they're kind of lopsided, your nail is going to end up lopsided. So make sure that you're pinching those together nice and straight. And then you can take that form, you can open up that little perforation up on the top, and it's going to make things a little bit easier when you go to put that on your client's natural nail. I'm going to come underneath this nail. I'm going to bring my form right up underneath that natural nail, get it right under there, and then just kind of lift up a little bit on the end. So just kind of rocking it up until it comes straight out, and then I can secure that form all the way down on the sides. I'm going to pinch it together just a little bit more underneath to make sure it's nice and round and it's not bowed out on the sides at all. Next step. What is going to be our next step? So we are working with gel. So I'm going to come in with my clear Sculptor and we're going to build out our free edge. We're going to build out the extension to our nail. And let's grab that. I'm going to take just that nozzle of my applicator here. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of my gel onto the nail and kind of draw it right up to that natural nail, all the way up from one side, all the way down to the other side. And then I'm going to start to feather that product down to whatever length I want on this nail. And it's Friday. Let's have Friday fun day. Let's make a nice long nail here. Maybe a nice little stiletto. I say little stiletto. It's not going to be a little stiletto. It's going to be nice. Nice long stiletto. And then I'm going to grab my brush. And you guys, today I am using our Pro Gel Sculptor, and this brush comes in 2 pieces. Don't worry, I'm not breaking it. It's designed that way. Pop one piece out, and then you've got a handle and a brush cover when you're not using it. I'm also going to grab my little mixing tile here. If you guys have seen me do gels before, you know that I always keep my mixing tile here to kind of keep my brush cleaned out, or if I have, if I need to wipe my brush out or clean that out, I can use that tile. I'm going to use the edge of my brush and I'm going to slide that up the sides here, really just pulling that product right up to that edge. Clean out my brush if I have a little bit of product in there. Same thing on that other side. I'm going to use just that edge of my brush to bring that product, basically drawing a line straight up that edge, and then just kind of feather out that little bit of product that may have kind of come up onto that natural nail. Again, clean out my brush if I need to. I'm going to kind of check my shape here. Make sure that I've got enough product all the way through. Make sure I don't have any little gaps or holes or anything that might be missing, just to make sure that my free edge is built out perfectly. And this is going to go into our light. We're going to cure this for about 30 seconds or so. Oops, make sure that other finger's under there. So we're going to cure that for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to go back to our base gel. Now, base gel is the foundation. That's what's going to have the best bond to your natural nail. So you always want to make sure that you're using our base gel. If you skip this step, that's where you may have issues with lifting, chipping, separation, anything like that. So never skip your base gel, even if you're just doing a quick little fill, okay? Always make sure that you're using that base gel as your foundation layer. Our nail is done curing in the light. Set that off to the side. Again, grabbing my base gel. I'm going to take just a little bit of the base. I don't need a lot of it, but I want to make sure that I get that really, oops, there's a little something stuck on my nail here that I didn't need. That's where the little tile comes in handy. If you have something on there, you can just kind of scoop it off, wipe that onto your tile, and then you can come back. I'm going to grab just a little bit more of that base. You guys, you know that if you have done gel nails before, any kind of nails really, fuzz and dust and lint is our worst enemy. So make sure you clean that off of there. Make sure that you're working on a good clean tile, and make sure that you keep your brush nice and clean. That's why I love this brush, because it's got that cover to it. So make sure you're keeping everything clean. I'm going to take just a little bit more of that base, run it right around that edge, right around that connection area, so that I make sure that My free edge is really well connected to that natural nail. Again, you can see I'm not using a lot, and I'm just going to kind of feather that out. And I think we're good on that. Let's put that back into the light. Same thing as before, we're going to cure that, freeze it into place for about 30 seconds. Now, let's get into the fun stuff. That was kind of the, I said before, the nitty-gritty, but now let's get into some colors. And today we're going to be working with our liquid art. If you guys haven't used our liquid art before, we have 3 colors of it. We got the 3 primary colors, yellow, blue, and red. And these 3 colors are colored monomer. Now, we are doing gel today, and that's okay, but I'm going to show you some acrylic options with this as well. Because this is colored monomer, it's designed to be mixed with our acrylic monomer. Now, you guys, if you've been using the extreme low odor, it's not to be mixed with the extreme low odor. It's only to be mixed with our traditional, or you can also mix it with the gel, but it's designed to work with the traditional acrylic. Okay, so make sure if you're using the liquid art that you're only mixing it with the traditional liquid. Okay, so when we're working with, let me grab my brush here. When we're working with the acrylic and the liquid art, what you want to do, I'll bring this in just a little bit closer so you guys can see really well. So I'm going to take a little Dappen dish, and I'm going to pour some of my monomer. I'm going to try to do this without knocking into the camera. I'm going to pour a little bit of my monomer into my Dappen dish. I'll go about halfway or so. And this is my brush that I use kind of all day, every day. But what I like to do when I'm working with our liquid art, if I can find it here, is I'm going to use one of my older brushes. Let me see if I can find it here. There we go. Okay, so this is one of my older brushes. I've used this a lot. It's kind of on its last legs. It's lost a few bristles over the years. It's been used and abused. So this is what I'm going to use with my liquid art, because I want to make sure that I'm not getting that stain or that pigment into my brush like this that I'm going to be using on my pink and whites or on my other nails. So make sure that you have a separate brush if you're working with the liquid art and your acrylic. All right, so what the liquid art is, it's a dye for your monomer, basically. So it's colored monomer. So it's not food coloring, it's not alcohol inks. It is an actual colored monomer. And I have lost my eyedropper. Oh, there it is. So when you're working with the liquid art, a couple of things. You saw I took the cap off. Make sure that when you're done, you always put that cap back on. Don't just leave the eyedropper in there, because it could actually evaporate if you leave the eyedropper in. So when you're working with it, you're going to take out a dropper, you're going to add a drop or a few drops, however dark you want your liquid. And I just kind of squeeze that back up into the eyedropper to kind of mix it up a little bit, and then you can kind of just mix that into your Dappen dish. Now, again, make sure you put that cap back on. If these spill, they can stain, so you always want to make sure that you're covering that up, and then don't leave that eyedropper in there, because that can it can cause it to evaporate over time. Okay, so make sure that you're following those things especially. So why do we use liquid art? Well, let me show you. So if you're using the liquid art with acrylic, here's what it's designed for. If we were to take our Speed Clear and we just pick up, let me see if I've got a little bit of just clear monomer here, just regular monomer. If we pick up a bead of our, oh, just kidding you guys, I grabbed the wrong brush. This is why we have a separate one for liquid art, because it's gonna stain. So I just stained my liquid in my Dappen dish. And it happens, you guys, not a big deal. I'm just gonna clean that out. Let me come back a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better here. All right, so I'm just gonna clean that out real quick. Let's get a little bit more liquid in here. I'm gonna use my other brush that doesn't have liquid art in it. Pour that in. Okay, now we've got some fresh, clean liquid. Just gotta make sure I remember which is which. And then, let's get that situated there and that situated there. Okay, so what the liquid art is originally designed for. Here we go again. So normally when you pick up, there's a little fuzz in there. Normally when you pick up your pearl of Speed Clear, it's gonna be a clear pearl, okay? That's why it's called Speed Clear. I know, weird, huh? But if we were to use our liquid art mixed into our monomer, we have that red liquid. So now we have a clear red pearl. So you guys, this is a really quick and easy way of increasing your design work. I don't even know. I can't even say 100-fold. I don't know. But you can use it with the Speed Clear. It's going to give you a clear pearl with that color. If you use it with your Speed White, so I've got my Speed White here. Use it with the Speed White. What do you guys think it's going to do? Let me know in the chat. Put in the chat, what do you think it's going to do if I use Speed White? Is it going to give me a dark color? Is it going to give me a light color? Is it going to give me a clear color? What do you guys think? Let me know. Okay, what it's going to do, I know you're going to put it in the chat after I pick up a pearl, but when you're working with the liquid art and the Speed White, it's actually going to give you more of a pastel. So if you want a clear pearl, use the Speed Clear. If you want more of a pastel color, use the Speed White. That's going to give you a whole different look. Now what if we use, some of you guys either have used the liquid art before, or you just made a good guess, but those of you that said pastel, you are right on there. Tammy asking to show cover blush with the red. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can grab that here quick. All right, Tammy, I'm sorry I can't find my cover blush right offhand. I don't know where I misplaced it, but how about if I show you some Flash and Burn? So Flash and Burn is one of our slick pour acrylic technically dip powders, but it is a colored acrylic. It's got some glitter to it. So let me show you what this one looks like just by itself. So this one is a really, really pretty, let's see if I can get a close up on that. There we go. Okay, so that's better. So you can see that this one is a really pretty sparkly color, okay? It is a slightly opaque. Now, if we were to use that, come back out, with our liquid art and pick that up, there's a whole different ball game in sparkle. So now we have a red sparkle. So you guys, this is why I say the liquid art colors are going to really expand your options for mixing colors, mixing glitters, customizing things, really making different colors. Now, if we wanted to really customize, that's where the other colors come in. So you can start mixing. Like I said before, we have our 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. I'm actually going to grab that. If you want to start making like an orange color, we can add some yellow. So if we add yellow into there, maybe we'll add, sorry guys, we'll add a little bit more yellow, maybe a lot of yellow. That red is actually very pigmented, so it's kind of a little bit overpowering. So if you were wanting to make more of an orange, I would actually start with the yellow first, and then I would add the red, because the red, like I said, it can be just a little bit overpowering. So now we have our orange. It's still a little on the red side, but that's okay. So now if we pick up our Flash and Burn, you can see that one's going to be a little bit more on kind of the peachy side. Whoops. Okay, so you can really customize these colors. You can mix, you can customize them with any of our acrylic powders in the traditional system or the slick pour system. Okay, these are not to be used with the extreme low odor, so keep that in mind. Elle's asking, can you make it darker? If you want to make it darker, you can always add more of the liquid art to your monomer, okay? So make sure you are mixing whatever colors you like to mix, and keep in mind your color wheel, so when you're mixing, you can completely customize everything, okay? All right, let me set our acrylics off to the side. And then let's get into our gel nail that we started here just a couple minutes ago. You guys make sure that you keep the liquid art off of tables and things like that because it can stain. So be careful when you're working with it. If you spill, stop and clean up right away because it definitely can stain. All right, now we've got our, oops, you guys, as I said that, I just spilled that liquid art on my table over here. So I'm gonna mop that up real quick, but we are all good. Okay, so we've got our nail that we did our gel base on, and we built out that extension. We're gonna take this form off, and we're gonna end up with a nice clear extension to work over and to do our design on. So I showed you guys how to, actually I'm gonna tuck that right back over here so we don't get dust and things on there while we do our mixing, okay? So I showed you guys how to mix the liquid art with the acrylic. Now let's mix our liquid art with our gel. And I just stuck my finger into the liquid art, so make sure you clean that up when you're done, you guys. All right, just gonna grab a couple of table wipes here, because I wanna make sure that my mixing tile is nice and clean. I'm gonna grab a little bit of polish remover. You can use polish remover or swipe, whatever you got to clean off your mixing tile. So always make sure that when you're mixing, you're using a really good, clean surface, okay? And maybe even clean off the liquid art from my thumb. All right, so when I'm mixing my liquid art, I like to use a thicker gel. So I'm gonna be working with the clear Sculptor. You could use the clear Sculptor in the tube. You could also use the clear Sculptor in the pot. The one in the pot is gonna be a little bit thicker. So it just kind of depends on what you want to use, okay? So we're gonna mix two different colors here for you today. First one is gonna be, let's see, first one's gonna be kind of a greenish color. So again, I'm gonna grab my little eyedropper. I'm gonna open that up. Now when you're working on acrylics, you guys saw that I did pretty much a full eyedropper full when I was mixing with the acrylic. With gels, a little bit goes a long way. So I'm just gonna pick up maybe a couple of drops. I'm gonna add that to the top surface of my gel. And maybe just a little bit more there, okay? Now remember, gel is kind of that, obviously it's a gel form already. Any liquid that we add to it is gonna thin it out. So that's why I say start mixing with a thicker gel rather than a thinner gel, because this is gonna start to thin that out a little bit. So let's put our cap back on there again. And let's grab our blue. We're gonna mix, like I said, kind of a tealy green. And I usually go from light to dark. That way I don't have to necessarily clean out my eyedropper every time I go to a different color. So I don't necessarily have to clean it out before I go into the blue. But I'm gonna come in and just pick up, let's just do maybe a drop here. Maybe 2 drops, whatever's left in that eyedropper there. And then on this other one, you guys, doesn't it look kind of cool? It looks like an eyeball. I love it. This is the fun part about, you know, working with all these great nail products. We've got so many different fun things, and you get to be so creative. And actually this color right here, how that's looking, it kind of gives me ideas on other nail designs. So use inspiration wherever you find it. Now on this one, I did 2 drops. Maybe let's do 3 drops of the blue. We'll do a little bit of a darker design or darker color on this one. I'm gonna close those up. And I'm gonna use my mixing spatula here. Somebody said it's a painting knife, whatever you guys wanna call it. It's what I use to mix my gels here. So I'm just starting to kind of smear that product onto my tile here, combining all of that gel. Now, I want you guys to see this. Do you see how it looks kind of streaky? It's not blended very well. It's kind of marbling. I want to make sure that I just keep mixing, keep smearing this until all of that gel comes together with that liquid art. Until you see no more streaks, no more lines like that, no more marbling, keep mixing, okay? As you're mixing, what's happening is some of that monomer is actually going to evaporate. So that's kind of why when I'm working, I tend to actually mix my colors before I even get into any of my other application. That way it gives that monomer a little bit of time to evaporate out of there. I think our color is pretty well mixed here. I'm going to give it one more kind of a smooth out for two reasons. One, I'm going to check my color. Make sure that everything's mixed. It looks like it's pretty well mixed. And then I'm also going to give it just kind of a smooth over to press out any air bubbles. Okay, because when you're mixing, sometimes you get air bubbles in there, and by kind of smoothing it over like this, that's going to help to press out those air bubbles. And it's just kind of a very soothing feeling too. Just kind of pressing that out, smoothing it out. And then I'll scoop that all back up together, and that's going to be our first color. Alrighty, and then I want to make sure that if I don't want to get color from my second color, or from my first color into my second color, make sure that you clean off your spatula. Make sure to get all of that extra product off there. What do you guys think so far? Are you enjoying the color mixing? If you are, throw some hearts into that chat there. Let me know that you're still with me. Let me know you're enjoying the color mixing. Throw some hearts in. I want to see the hearts. I am watching the chat here, you guys. It's hard to mix colors and answer questions at the same time, but I do see you in there. I appreciate you guys being here. And I hope that you're having some fun today. Hopefully you are learning some things about mixing your liquid art with your gels, mixing your liquid art with your acrylics, all that good stuff. And you guys, while you're at it, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so that you can come join us again next time. We are here usually about 5 days a week, giving you guys education, giving you all the information that we can. So hit that subscribe button and come back and join us again. All right, so we are gonna keep mixing this until it's all nice and combined. Spread out any of those little air bubbles that may be in there. And I think we are good with that one. Now, I'm gonna combine these right here all together. We've got our green there as well. I'm going to clean off my spatula one more time here. And I'm going to grab one more color that we're going to use today. Set some things aside. I'm going to use our white sculpture. Now yesterday when I was doing the ombre, the pink and white ombre with our gels, somebody asked for other options on how to use your white sculpture. So pink and whites are great. If you're working and doing ombres, the white sculpture is great. But I'm going to add a little bit of white to our tile here for our design. So here's another way that you can use some of that white sculpture. Okay. All right. You know what, you guys? Should we add some glitter? What do you think? Put some, I don't know, put some flowers into the, I don't know, is there a sparkle thing in the emoji? Is there a sparkle emoji that we can put into the chat? If there's a sparkle emoji, put a sparkle emoji. Otherwise, put some hearts in the chat if you want to see some glitters. Otherwise, we're going to use our blue, our white, and our green. Oh, there is a sparkle emoji. Look at those stars. I love it. I love it. I love it. Or any kind of emoji. All right, you guys. Yeah, I think you guys want some glitter. So let's add some glitter. So I do have, one of my favorite colors is crystal. And I absolutely love crystal. It is just a really soft, really fine glitter. You guys can kind of see. Maybe you can kind of see on camera there. So just a very fine glitter. Let's mix that into, should we mix it into the blue or into the green? Maybe let's mix it into the green. We'll do it into the green. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of this over the top of that gel. And I don't need a ton. We're not gonna overwhelm it too much, but just a little bit of sparkle. Okay, we'll go back to that mixing and smearing and just mushing that glitter into our gel. Get that nice and combined. Give you guys a little better view there. I tell you guys, this is one of my favorite parts of doing nails, is just doing the custom mixes. It's coming up with different color combinations, different glitter mixes, all of those fun things. I absolutely love this. If I could just mix colors and glitters all day long and get paid for it, I mean, who wouldn't love doing that? All right, so same thing. We're just gonna smooth that back out. Make sure to press out any of those bubbles, and then we'll just combine that all back together. And we are ready to go. Okay, let's come back to our nail. So now that we actually got all of our colors ready to go, we've got our nail ready to go, we've got that base gel on our natural nail, we've built out our extension using the clear Sculptor. Let me adjust the camera real quick here so you guys can get a really good view. Miriam, difference between Crystal and Little Guy, just different shimmers. And I think Little Guy is a slightly larger, just slightly larger glitter. Okay, so you guys can see a little bit better. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna do kind of a marbly kind of a look. So I'm gonna take, make sure you guys can see. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of my blue, just kind of scoop that up. I'm gonna take a little bit of my white, scoop that up, and I'm just going to drop that onto our nail. Kind of rolling it off my brush, and then I'm just gonna kind of start to move that product, swirl it, bring those two colors kind of together. I don't want to over mix it though. Oops, got a little on the skin there. Make sure to clean anything off the skin if you do get that on there. But just kind of swirling it together to bring those colors together. Let's pick up a little bit of that green. Kind of just draw that up in there. Kind of swirl them together. Maybe just a little bit more of that blue and white. Bring those together, maybe a little more blue. And again, you guys, this is kind of where it gets fun, is with abstract designs like this, there's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about certain colors or certain shapes or anything like that. Just kind of bringing your product together how you think it should look. And maybe a little bit more green, maybe a little bit more of that white. Dropping that down. Kind of swirling that on, moving your product however you want. I'm going to bring a little bit more of that green up into kind of that cuticle area. Make sure that I'm getting as close as I can to my cuticle without touching. We don't want to leave any empty spots, but we also don't want to get product onto the skin. Alrighty, I think that's looking kind of fun. Let's see, what do we need at the end besides that little piece of fuzz that's stuck there? Maybe we need a little bit more of the white and maybe a little bit of the green. Let's grab those two and kind of drop that on there, swirl that around. There's really just something very soothing about working with marbling and moving your product. It's just very, very soothing. Okay, so you guys can see it's kind of a ocean-y look almost, like waves on a beach, something like that. But just kind of start moving your product wherever you feel like you need it. And I want to make sure that I cap all the way around the edges so that I don't have any empty spots. And maybe I'm going to pick up just a little bit more of the white and maybe just kind of drizzle right in there a little bit more. And looks like I've got a little bit of product coming off of my sides. I want to make sure that the product's not running. So make sure that you do clean up anything that's getting a little bit out of control. Make sure to clean that off before you pop that into the light. Okay, I think I like how that's looking. I'm going to get that into my light, and we're going to set that into place for about 30 seconds. So that is going into the UV LED. It's going to stop the product from moving, and then we will go on to our next step, which we may add some glitter. You guys could add mylar to it if you like. Oh, somebody says it looks like an earth style. Yes! Oh, when was Earth Day? This would have been a great design for Earth Day. I guess I didn't think about it then. So you guys, again, you could add more glitter to the surface of this nail. You could add mylars to it. I think I kind of like the design how it's looking, but I think I am going to add a little bit something on top of the nail. So once it's fully sculpted, fully filed, we're going to add some more design work over the top of it to really give dimension, okay? And I know some of you are looking at this nail and you're thinking, oh, what the heck is that mess, okay? I promise you, trust the process. Once we file this whole nail out, you are gonna be surprised. You're gonna be amazed. So I'm gonna cap the whole thing to build our structure with our clear sculptor. And I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit of that clear onto the surface, right back by that cuticle area. Kind of working in a circular motion around that cuticle area and just capping all of that color. We want to make sure that we're getting that clear on that whole nail so that we don't end up filing out our swirls. We don't file out our design underneath here. So I'm just going through, kind of squeezing out a little bit more product as I go, working that all the way from side to side, building up structure. Now I feel like I've got kind of a low spot right in through here, right where I'm working now, but I'm gonna only cap a little bit. I'm gonna probably come back and add more in to make sure that I have proper structure, but I don't wanna apply so much product that A, it's gonna heat up too much on the client, or B, it's gonna run before it gets into the light, okay? Sometimes I feel like people try to pile on their gel and create their structure all in one application, and you don't need to. Just get enough product on there to cap everything, and then you can always add more. So let's get that into the light again. We're gonna freeze that for another 30 seconds, and then we can take another look at it kind of from the side view. I can kind of see even right here through the light, I've got still a little bit of that low spot in there, so I am going to still add a little bit more product. B's asking, what does capping do? I don't know if that's how you spell it. Yes. So what we're doing right now is capping our design. So we've got that design on there. If we were to just go into our filing, we end up filing off that whole design. So by capping it with clear, it's going to seal that design in there. And then when we do our filing, we're not going to file it off. So you guys can kind of see from the side view, I still have a little bit of a lower spot here. I've got enough product in my stress area so that when I do file, everything is going to file nice and smooth and perfect, but I still have a little bit more right through here that I need to build up. So I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit more product right in that lower area, right where I need a little bit more. So now you can see that there is going to be that really good structure. I'm going to have a good arch. I've got a good apex. I've got a nice high point on there. And I still, yep, you guys, you know, you're always going to do a little bit of filing. Let me clean out my brush here real quick. You're always going to do a little bit of filing. So don't worry if your gel isn't sitting 100% perfect. As long as you've got that structure in there, you're going to be just fine, okay? Let's cure that for a full 60 seconds. And while that's curing, here's something that I actually like to do with my leftover colors. A lot of times what I will do, let me grab my spatula, is wait until the end of your service, okay? So sometimes you may need to touch up some certain areas. So what I'm gonna do for now, I'm just gonna take a little bit of each color, set that off to the side so that if we do need any touch-ups, we've got a little bit that we can use to touch up. So don't do this part until you're all done, but what I like to do when I am all done is I'll take all of the colors that I used, squish those all up together, and then you can combine those colors. So this way you can see there's quite a bit of gel that I have left over, so I really don't want to waste this, but I am gonna play with it for a minute and just kind of swirl it around, see what kind of designs and inspiration it makes. But you can then just mix all of your colors together. And then you can save that in one of our white mixing jars so that when you go back and do, maybe you do another design, maybe you do something else, but look at the difference of the colors now. Now we've got just kind of a really pretty pastel, kind of a teal color. And again, you guys, that liquid art, it's amazing. All we used was 2 different colors of that liquid art, but now we've had a dark blue, we've had a green, now we've got that teal. So when you're mixing, you guys, have fun, and then when you're done, combine all those colors and see what you get. I think that's just the fun part of mixing all of our gels. So have fun with your colors, but like I said, save a little bit of each color just in case you need to touch anything up. And I think our nail is cured out. Looks good. I don't think we need to add any more. We've got that structure built in there. Let's get into our filing. So I'm going to move my table towels aside here, get my dust extractor all set. And once our gel cures, it does have a tacky surface. So it's going to have a little bit of stickiness to it. I'm going to use a little bit of our swipe on a lint-free wipe, and I am going to cleanse that nail. So really removing all of that tacky surface, clean all of that off. Pop my nail back in there, make sure it's in there good and solid. Definitely clean off all of that tacky surface. Okay? Now, those of you that were saying that looks like a big pile of poo, here's where you're going to be amazed. All right, we're going to file this into shape, and you're going to see that the actual structure is in there. I'm going to turn my dust extractor on. Make sure all of your gels and everything is covered up so that you don't get dust into anything. And I'm going to switch out from my sanding band to, you can either use your X-Cut carbide, or if you don't feel comfortable with the X-Cut carbide just yet, maybe you're new to doing nails, maybe you're a beginner, we do have the safety bit, which is a little bit easier to use and not quite so scary if you're a beginner. But I'm going to leave a little bit of space in that bit. So right here I'm going to leave space so that as I'm working, that end of my file isn't going to hit the tip of the nail. Okay, we're going to turn our speed up to about 13 to 14,000 RPMs. I'm at about 14,000 here today. When you're working with gel, you can keep it at about, I would say about 12 to 14,000 RPMs. Okay? I'm just going to use the edge of my bit, coming straight down, pulling that bit straight down the side of my nail. That's going to clean up that edge. And same thing on the other side, but I'm going to push up. So on left-handed side, or sorry, you guys, for a right-handed tech, on your left side, you're going to pull down. On your right side, you're going to push up. Opposite is for left-handed techs. So left-handers, you're going to turn your machine into reverse, and you are going to go, instead of pulling down, you're going to push up on your left side and pull down on your right side. So make sure that you're always going basically against the rotation of the bit. You're not going with the rotation of the bit, okay? So again, pushing up on my right side. And then I'm going to turn that nail on the side. I've got a little bit of overhang on my edges, on my lower arches here, so I'm going to just kind of take that in a little bit. Don't worry just yet if you've got a little product kind of still down here, or if you got a little product maybe you can kind of see right up in here. Don't worry too much about getting that. You can always come back in with your hand file to really perfect and clean that up. All right, let's turn this nail onto the side. And I'm going to file from this view. I'm going to look at my nail, and I'm going to start by my cuticle area and work down the arch of the nail. I'm not trying to come all the way from side to side. I'm going to show you another technique on how to get this side over here, but we're going to work from the top over to the left side, over to the side that's closest to us. Now, those of you that were asking, why did we cap this in clear? Right here is the exact reason, because if we were to have just gone through and filed over the color, we would have filed our color off. So here we're just filing on that clear that we used to cap that nail. Just going to turn this nail around. I'm going to look straight down the barrel of the nail, and I'm going to pull my bit towards myself. So that's where I'm going to start to get the bulk down from those sides. Just pulling towards myself. I'm not using any pressure. I'm just lightly kind of making contact and pulling forward. Make contact, pull forward. If you use too much pressure, especially with gels, you tend to kind of gouge them out. So again, making sure you're not using a whole lot of pressure, okay? See, those of you that were doubting, it's starting to come into shape now. And I'm just gonna do a little bit more customizing from this direction. And then what I like to do at this point is switch from my X-cut back to my sanding band. So back to that same bit that we were using to prep the nail. And I like this for getting really close, really tight up around the cuticle area and down along the sidewalls. And I turned my speed down to about 7,000 RPMs, so it's not running super fast, but it's got a little bit of speed to it. And again, just coming around that cuticle area, this is really gonna help to taper that product down to that natural nail so you don't have a catch, okay? Just keeping that area nice and thin and giving myself less work to do with my hand file. I always teach you guys to do as much work as you can with your electric file because it's much easier. Let me show you guys here. It is much easier to work like this. If you're working in the salon all day, much easier to work like this than it is with your hand file working like this. Okay, it's much easier on your hands, your wrists, your shoulders, your neck. And you guys, we always want to be teaching you proper ergonomics, ways of elongating your nail career and making sure that you're taking care of your body and that you're not putting too much pressure on your hands, your neck, your wrists, all of those things. Okay, so now we've got our nice structure in there. I'm going to come in just a little bit tighter with my sanding band. Let's come back over to our other side here. Again, I can come in just a little bit tighter with my sanding band over on that edge. And then I think we are about right here. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable going to my hand file. Whoops, sorry guys. Let me turn you a little bit. There we go. So now I'm going to come in with my 150 grit file. We're going to file our sidewalls nice and straight, coming straight out from that natural nail, and then kind of, let me turn this a little bit so you can see. So I'm starting here, and then I'm working in at an angle, because we're working on a stiletto nail, so we want that, actually maybe it's kind of turning into more of an almondetto, which is fine too. So we're going to get those sides and then into that free edge. But I'm always keeping my file straight up and down. All I see as I'm filing is this blue line down the center. If I start to angle my file like this and I see more of the file surface, I'm going to end up cutting into my corners, and I want to make sure I'm not doing that. So keeping my file straight, making sure everything is nice and even. Same thing on the other side, keeping my file nice and straight, and then coming into my free edge. Let's see here, there we go. Cleaning up that shape a little bit. And you guys, I'm not gonna worry too much about making this 100% perfect with my shaping from this direction, because I am actually gonna turn this nail around to a different direction, and I'll show you that in a second. But I'm gonna turn the finger on the side. I'm gonna bring my file underneath the lower arch here, keeping that file straight in line with the finger. Let me come out. So making sure that when you're working on the lower arch, you're straight in line with the finger. If you start to angle your file either way, you're going to be starting to either cut in a notch right here, or you're going to lift up too much on your free edge. So again, straight out from that free edge, or straight out from the finger, sorry guys. Straight out from the finger, and that's going to bring everything straight out from those sidewalls. And a little bit more there. And I think we are good. Check my little corner, perfect, okay? Same thing on the other side here, straight out from that free edge. Do you guys notice how I'm putting my fingers on top of that nail? When you're working, especially with a longer nail like this, make sure to kind of balance the top here, okay? If you were to just file here, underneath here, that can put too much pressure under here on the nail bed, and it can start to lift and be uncomfortable for that client. So balance on the top, Well, just a little bit of pressure to kind of hold that nail into place, and you'll be good. All right, so I'm going to come back around my cuticle area. Again, tapering that, thinning that, contouring it, rounding everything out so that I don't have that ledge in the back. Bringing up my sides, contouring that so everything is a nice rounded shape. I don't have straight edges. And again, down the sides, same thing, just kind of rounding those edges out. And check my shape here a little bit. Then I'm going to kind of look from the side, and I'm just going to float my file through that whole surface. I'm at a slight angle. You guys, let me turn this so you can see. My file's at a slight angle here. I'm not filing flat. I don't want to file out my arch. I want to basically kind of focus my pressure right down here, so that way I'm thinning and tapering here, but I'm leaving that thickness up through my arch. Okay, so again, just kind of floating through there. That's going to take care of any little lumps or bumps. And the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check from this direction here first. I'm going to check my lower arches, make sure everything looks nice and even. I think we're looking good there. And then I'm going to turn this hand around. Let me push back so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn this finger around from this view. I want to see what my client is seeing. And I can see I'm just slightly off to one side here a little bit. And I always tend to favor this side a little bit. So I usually, when I'm doing my filing, I always tend to have to file on this side. Everybody has a dominant side, and we're a little heavier handed on one side, so don't worry if you feel that you're kind of consistently filing the other side. That's okay. That's why we turn the nail around and check from this view, just so you can see exactly where you need to file. So I'm just coming through kind of at that same angle, pressure more at that free edge, but I'm going to come all the way through that whole contour of the nail. So all the way from one side all the way to the other, kind of in the whole, you know, the motion all the way across. I'm not coming here and coming here. If you start on one side, bring that motion all the way across, you're going to get a really nice, smooth, tapered nail, and everything is going to blend together. I'm going to just do right around that cuticle area one last time, looking down the barrel of that nail, and I think I've got all my little lumps and bumps cleaned up. Just going to perfect that shape from this view, and then I think we are good. So let me turn off my dust extractor. I'm going to dust that nail off a little bit, get all that dust out of here, and then I can put my table towels back up to again give myself a nice clean surface to work on. Now we've got all that dust out of the way. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at all those hearts in the chat. Are you loving it so far? Want to see what it's going to look like? So I dusted the nail off. I'm going to take a little bit more swipe and really clean the surface of that nail. So those of you that were not trusting the process, what do you think now? Okay, now that we've got everything filed out and cleaned up and shaped and everything, we've got a really pretty looking nail. And whoever that was that said an earth looking nail, I think you were right on track. I think this is very earthy looking. So once we've cleaned that nail off, I'm going to come back out just a little bit for you guys. We're going to come back to our protein bond because we're going to top coat this nail. We're going to finish this nail. Should we add a little bit more sparkle? Should we add a little more bling? What do you guys think? Throw some sparkles in the chat, throw some hearts in the chat if you want to see some more bling. But in the meantime, I'm going to put one more coat of protein bond on, whether you're adding more bling or not. I'm still going to add that protein bond. If you're going to just do your top coat, it's going to help your top coat adhere. If you're adding bling, it's going to also help to adhere your bling on that nail. All right, let's see here. Okay, I'm seeing some hearts. I'm seeing some sparkles. You guys are wanting more bling. And I also saw somebody asking, where did I get the trainer hand? This is the Young Nails trainer hand. Anything that I'm using, everything that I'm using, everything down to my table towels is from Young Nails. So youngnails.com, you guys can get all of these products. Check them out. You're going to love them. All right, so we're going to add some more bling because you guys asked for it. So I'm going to add a little bit of our foil, and I think I like silver with this design. So this is one of our foils from our jewel foil kit. And I'm going to grab one more mixing tile since my other one is being used at the moment. And what I like to do is when I'm using the foils, I'm going to again clean off my palette here. Make sure that I don't have any dust or anything on there that's going to get in the way. And then make sure that's dry. I'm going to take a little bit of the foil. And you guys, this is very delicate, so make sure that you don't sneeze, otherwise it is going to go flying all over the place. You can see I'm just kind of pulling a few pieces off of there, and then I'll put the rest back off to the side. And a lot of times what I like to do, let me come in here a little bit. What I like to do is I actually like to break this up a little bit more before I put it onto the nail. So I'll just kind of come in with my cuticle pusher, orange wood stick, whatever you got, brush handle, 2 fingernails, whatever you got. Just kind of pull those pieces apart so I've got smaller pieces to pick up. Or if you just want those big chunky pieces, you can definitely use those as well. So just kind of depends on how you like to work with your product. But like I said, just don't sneeze, otherwise it's going to go flying all over the place. Now I'm going to set that off to the side. Whoops, where'd you guys go? There you are. Okay. I'm going to start with one coat of, you know what, actually I'm going to grab my Manicure base coat. And let me just find that real quick. Okay, so I'm going to start with a coat of my Manicure base coat, and this way it's going to give us a tacky surface to put all of our foil into. I could probably stick it right onto the tacky surface of the protein bond, but a lot of times I like to really set that Mylar down into place. So having just a thin coat of our Manicure base on there, and we're going to cure that for 30 seconds. That's going to give us that really good tacky surface for our foil to get into and really stick down in there. So again, pop that in the light for the quick 30 seconds. Usually this is the point where I would probably be getting my foil out, so I'm not wasting any time, you know, separating those pieces. If you want a couple of different foil colors, definitely use a couple of different colors, you guys. Mix it up, create whatever you like to create. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my brush again. This is my gel brush again. I'm going to wipe out the extra gel from there, but then I'm going to use that brush. Let me come in a little bit more. I'm going to pick up those little pieces with that brush, and we're going to set those down. Where do we want to put them? Maybe we'll put some right in here. Just kind of eyeball it, see where you feel like you need a little shine. And because that base coat has that tacky surface, these are going to sit right down into that tacky surface. Now here's the trick. I don't want to cover up too much of my swirls because I really like those and I want to be able to see those, but we'll just add a little bit here and there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of break these up a little bit more. So I want a little bit less chunky, a little bit more just kind of accent. So I'm just going to kind of tap into it using the point of my brush. Let me come on a little bit more. Use the point of my brush to kind of jab into them, and that's going to start to break up that foil a little bit more. So if you want smaller pieces, a little bit more of a delicate look, you can just kind of break those up a little bit more. But again, they're sticking into that tacky surface of our base gel. Just kind of breaking those up into smaller little pieces, almost like little diamonds on the nail, just sparkling. And I don't think I want that piece right there. I'm going to kind of scooch that over a little bit. I want to have a little bit more of that blue showing. And again, just kind of breaking these up into smaller pieces. And once you've got those on there how you want, I'm going to pop this back into the light for just a few more seconds, just to kind of set these back into that gel. Okay, we only cured that base gel for 30 seconds, so I can come back in and fully set those foil pieces into that tacky surface. Okay, that way when I do my next coat or my top coat, it's not going to move those pieces around. So at this point, we're going to do 2 more coats to seal these foils in. So you could do, since I've already got my base coat out, I could do a coat of base coat and then I could do my top coat, or I could just do 2 coats of top coat. Whichever product you want to use is totally fine. So take your pick. Again, since I've got the base coat out, I might as well just grab that. And then this way, the base coat is going to seal these glitters, or sorry, seal these foils. I forget what we're using here today. It's going to seal those foils into place. Come a little closer. And that way when we do our top coat, you're not going to feel any texture of these foils. Sometimes if you only do 1 coat, I feel like you still feel just a little bit of texture, and I want to make sure that I'm not going to feel that. And I actually like to use the base coat because it's a little bit thicker than your top coats are, so it does tend to really seal those in there, so again you don't feel that texture. This one I'm just going to pop in there for a quick 30-second freeze, just enough to set that that coat of base coat into place. It's not going to move at this point, and I'm going to finish my nail with our Ultimate Finish top coat, and this is going to give us that really good high shine. Let's come in there a little bit closer for you guys so you can really see all of those swirls in there. Again, we'll get that second layer over the top here. We will cap that whole nail, and we'll have a beautiful finish and a tack-free surface that you don't have to wipe off anything from the top. We'll cure that for a full 60 seconds and it will be set. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to give it a quick 30-second freeze so that you guys can see the final look, and then you don't have to sit here waiting for it to fully cure. But you guys remember, if you're working on a full set, you're always going to have one hand in the light while you're working on the second hand. So you're always going to just kind of be rotating back and forth. You're never going to be just sitting here waiting for your client to cure out. Okay, so again, we just did a quick 30-second freeze so I can show you, but here is the final look. And for those of you that were thinking that it was a wonky looking nail, I hope you guys like the final result. What do you guys think? If you do like it, you like the design, you enjoyed our class today, make sure that you do subscribe to our channel so that you can come back and join us. I was saying earlier, we are here usually Monday through Friday, offering you guys free education. Usually we're here for about an hour or so. So definitely hit that subscribe button, hit those like buttons, give us all the love in the chat. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we will see you guys on another live stream. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers that are with us in heart. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. See you guys next time.